Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Alexis.
And I'm Amy.
We are here from History 3CH3, titled Catastrophic History, Natural and Technological Disasters. Today I will be leading an interview discussion between Amy and myself about disasters, this course, and the blogs that we have created for this course. My topic is the Exxon Valdez oil spill in 1989. And yours, Amy?
My topic is the Pompeii volcanic disaster in 79 AD.
Very interesting. Now, Amy, we are going to get started with the first question. How have your perceptions of disasters changed from the knowledge gained both in this course and throughout the process of creating your blog about Pompeii?
Well, they've changed They've changed a lot, to be honest, because when I first studied Pompeii, I didn't consider all the social and literal literature, and then the cultural changes that a disaster had upon the Roman Empire, and then later on Italy and on today's world right now when we're looking through archaeology and history. But also for the course itself, it's changed because usually I just thought disasters were natural or they were man-made. Instead, my definition has changed to natural disasters or technological, with man-made being subject within both of those types due to how humans affect and deal with the aftermath of these disasters.
That is super interesting that your perception has changed. Why do you think it's changed? Just from specifically researching Pompeii or the course content itself?
Probably both. Pompeii was mostly from research because we didn't cover that in class. Mm-hmm. But I would say the definition that changed would definitely be from Dr. Egan and the class itself and the discussions and quizzes we had.
That's super interesting. Yeah, it's great that the whole class changed your perception as well as your individual research from your blog. The next question is, what was the cultural response to Pompeii? And do you think it would change if the same disaster were to happen today instead of 79 AD when Pompeii happened?
It would totally change because in 79 AD it was the Roman Empire. Mm-hmm. So at that time they believed most catastrophes that happened or most incidents that happened, even wars, were caused by the gods. They were very deeply religious and they were accepting of other gods. So Pompeii was blamed as either a disagreement between other gods and Pompeii was just the collateral damage, or it was seen as a directed assault against the Roman Empire for either previous deeds, upsetting the gods, not doing rituals properly. So they saw Pompeii not as a natural disaster itself, but something caused by a supreme deity or supreme being that they can't really understand. So to try and appease whatever happened, they did more sacrifices, they did rituals, and they kind of made the Pompeii zone a no-go zone for a few decades, just to try and make sure the gods didn't redo that, never realizing that it was actually a natural volcano of the whole occurrence. They actually thought Mount Vesuvius, which is what blew it up, was actually just a large hill.
Interesting. That is super interesting. What do you think, if you can perceive, would be the cultural impact of something like that happening today?
To be honest, there probably would be religious repercussions, but instead of being cult-like or many gods, they would probably be Christian, if anything. But it would probably be more reasoned through geological knowledge and scientific knowledge, especially because they now know it's a volcano, mm-hmm. And because they're monitoring 24/7. Around the world, just because it could blow at any second. Mm-hmm. They have the expectation that it will happen, so they've already prepared culturally.
That's super interesting. I like that that's something that's completely different between now and then in terms of the response.
It's just basic on knowledge. Pompeii, or that timeline, they did not know it was a volcano. Mm-hmm. So compared to knowing and not knowing is a large difference.
Mm-hmm. So the next question, it kind of relays into my topic as well. So the power relationship present within the Exxon Valdez oil spill is the company of Exxon that held most of the power. Where is the power relationship for Pompeii, if there is one present?
Well, the power relationship's not that clear, to be honest. Because the Roman Empire, they did have an emperor, Tacitus, for 2 years. One He started in 79 AD, right when Pompey started, and he went until 81 AD when he died of illness. So there was an emperor at the same time, but because of their religious beliefs and believing it was caused by the gods, the power relationship was not fully with the emperor. They thought either the power relationship was the gods and they were angry, so they had to appease them, and that was the power, or they thought it was an occurrence made by the gods, not to do with the empire or humans, but more as collaterals. Then the power was with the emperor or in the empire itself, because then they controlled the land. And because it was collateral damage, they didn't really have to do anything to appease the gods. So instead, it depends on how they viewed it at that time. So people who were very religious at that time, or cults, or a lot of people thought the power was the gods, so they would make more sacrifices. Actually, there's records showing that sacrifices jumped over 50% during that year after Pompeii, because people didn't want it to happen to their same towns.
Wow, that's super interesting.
But then you also have to look out for the emperor. He put ex-consuls and senate leaders, and he actually moved them to Pompeii for over a year until his death, where they moved rubble, they helped the people bury their dead, and then he rehoused the people on his own dime. Like, he didn't use empire money; he used his own money to replace them into similar towns or where they could continue their trade. So it depends if you want to look at the cultural and religious perspective or the more social and governmental body when you're looking at the power.
That is super interesting that it has like the two powers, because mine really only has the company being in control of everything. Well, yours has definitely the both of them, and that's super interesting.
It just depends if you believe more in the government than the religious side.
Yeah,
it'd be kind of similar today in Italy. Like, if they believe more in God, they think it'd be a God's thing, or they believed more in science, they'd probably see it's actually a volcano and just supposed to happen.
Yeah, I love that. It's super interesting. Another question that I have for you is regarding the cultural thing. It's like, do you think the human response for disasters have changed over time?
Oh yeah, hugely. First off, they're more ready for responses, such as the doctors in Africa. I forget what they're called.
Mm-hmm. Doctors Without Borders.
Doctors Without Borders. And because they of course you don't know when disaster is going to happen, but at least they have things ready. They have medical services ready. They have stuff on back burner. Mm-hmm. So for Italy right now, they're on 24/7 emergency alert in the Pompeii, where the area of Pompeii and Heracleum, around Vesuvius. Mm-hmm. So if it blows, actually about 20 million people will die, and 50 million people will be very sick. So they've actually put millions and hundreds of millions, the government itself and the UN, in a bank just to be used for when the volcano blows. So it's a lot different culturally, because they have a realization that they need to do this against what the 79 AD, where they had no absolute clue was happening. And then they just kind of they responded very quickly for them a few weeks later, when they've actually got news that actually happened from the survivors, who were basically walking on their feet to the nearest towns.
Oh my gosh.
And then spread further and further along. So there's more communication. It's easier to communicate. That also affects it too. Mm-hmm. So I just think we're more advanced in how we deal with it, culturally, scientifically, and technologically, and medically. Like, it's just a vast difference compared to what they were.
That's super interesting. So we're running out of time. Those are all the questions that I have for you. I would like to thank you, Amy, for taking the time to allow me to interview you today, and for doing such a fantastic job.
No problem. Thank you.